So this is a Mexico-made blacktop Fender Telecaster. We call her the Silver Bullet. I actually bought her from a band in Minnesota called Common Choir, and I love it. It is my main road guitar these days. I mostly play Fenders or G&L, which are basically fancy Fenders. They just take a beating on the road and keep asking for more. I even think this guitar looks better if it has a few dings in it, if I'm being honest. But, you know, I don't need to buy a pre-road worn series. And then the previous owner from Common Choir switched out the pickup to a Seymour Duncan Distortion Plus, but this is the original humbucker. So I love it because this makes the guitar sound evil, and this makes the guitar sound clean. And I know a lot of guitarists prefer more of a gradient between their pickup switches, but I personally want one side to sound like a totally different guitar and the other side to be the opposite.
So I play Spectre basses, and this one is my Spectre Legend X in hollow flash. Ooh. I don't know why, but I keep making the knobs fall off on both models I have. No idea why. But every time I put it on, it comes off in the show anyway, so I kind of think maybe it's more metal to show more metal, I don't know.
I mean, the logic's there.
The logic is there. Play it that loose, Alan.
What are you, corn?
That's what I'm aspiring to be.
Initial impressions of the string, it went into C a lot nicer than the previous one, honestly. Typically I get a little buzz on that 60 gauge. But let's see how bad the intonation is. That's pretty solid. Trying to get as much of the nonsense out of this before our show tomorrow.
Closer.
Yeah.
So put the new I'll call them DRs, the new Elixir strings on last night, and they're a lot clearer and a lot brighter than the other strings I've used in the past. I've used DRs, I've used Ernie Ball, and I've used Diodario, and none of them have had that clarity. But it comes at the cost of that brightness. That brightness is a little too much for our metal tone. But I'm running through 2 stages of EQ, one through my dark glass and one through my mark bass, so I should be able to get the brightness out. But that clarity I really like. So I can mix out that brightness, but you can't ever replicate clarity, so that's pretty cool. It'll take a little bit of time to get that dialed in, but we just need like an hour of jamming in a space that, you know, isn't public. And I can get that dialed in. But that was the first thing I noticed, and everybody in the bar was able to, oh, we heard the bass so good. It's like, yeah, because of the clarity.
So my whole life I've played the Polyweb with an acoustic series for all of my acoustic setups, and I loved them. But when I switched like back in the day to their NanoWeb series on the guitar, I felt like it kind of restricted a lot of the tone, it restricted the feedback, I didn't like how the coding felt, I don't know, the string just wasn't for me. But this Optiweb that we were asked to try, I mean, it seemed like a thinner coating, so I was optimistic, but last night it was like night and day, switching between our previous setup and our current setup. I mean, I've switched between Diodario, DR, I've played I think just about every brand there is now, and don't get me wrong, it makes a difference every time, but it's never a huge difference. Last night, like I said, it was night or day. We had to completely change the settings on our amplifiers. The positive, the strings are a lot brighter. I mean, a lot brighter. We do a lot of cool stuff in our choruses where we like to use like dominant ninths, dominant sevenths, or a 13 chord, and we'll leave like an open string to drone over the backside of it, and we love all those nuances that we put into our chords. But when you're in drop tuning, you mostly hear the root and the octave, and the nuances get hidden. With these new Optiweb series and how bright they were, it was pretty cool to hear the dominant ninths and stuff come through in the overall strumming. That being said, though, it was like I said, it was a totally different setup. I pulled almost all the treble out of my mix, and it still sounded pretty bright, almost too bright for rock or metal. But I was kind of caught with my pants down at sound check about how much of a difference the strings would make. I thought it'd be subtle, so hoping in Bangor, Maine tonight to get the tone a little more dialed in on the amplifier and guitar side of things to still get that Scarlet Canary tone with the new brightness. So we'll see how they do.